Lynette Oxley here for Tack Shack Tactical TV. Apparently everybody was wondering where the dogs are, so we thought Uji will say hello. And hello, Paul.
Hi, guys.
Did you get your piggy, Uji? No? Where's your piggy? Okay, that is so everybody could see Uji again. Now it's flinging the pig around.
He's punishing the pig because the pig was playing hard to get. Sorry, he loves soft toys.
In any case, let's start with something positive first in terms of the Facebook group and your T-shirt.
Yeah, so our members, remember that we have a Facebook group. So people have to ask permission to join and to contribute, and they granted that permission on an individual basis based on them agreeing to our rules and conditions.
Sorry, this is
so it's a proper group in every sense of the word. It's our full membership. And this week it went over 100,000. That's a big number.
That's amazing. That's a big number.
What you guys don't know is that we have a band list of persona non grata that's more than 2,500 strong. So in our time we have disciplined 2,500 members. So that which is further proof that this is a proper group. It's not a Facebook page that people like or dislike or whatever. It's a proper group. It's a big group. So anyway, so 100,000. So that's
an amazing number.
It's a huge number. It's a huge number for South Africa. It's a huge number. So that made me start reminiscing a little bit. As I get older, I reminisce a lot.
Yes, you do.
So back to 2015, when in actual fact it was the end of 2015 that we decided to start taking on members. Whereas we'd previously been a bit of just writing letters to editors of newspapers and meeting and behind closed doors and stuff like that. The first time we really threw ourselves open for public membership. And that was occasioned by the 2015 National Firearms Summit in Parliament. We scored an invite to none of the gun bodies were invited to attend the National Firearms Summit because, of course, we mean nothing. Our opinion means nothing. Gun Free South Africa and all of the other fellow travellers were there. Medical Research Council, blah, 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 blah. All of these people that actually don't have anything to do with guns, but have a vested interest in eliminating firearms. Anyway, but we weren't there. We got wind of it in January. We had started organising as the Sports Shooting Forum in order to give ourselves a friendlier face, the firearms community a friendlier face. So the moment we heard about the National Firearms Summit, which was at the end of March last year, we jumped in with both feet. And at the end of the day, there was 28 of us in the room. But we were split up as GOSA and Sports Shooting Forum. Anyway, but the interesting thing was that Sports Shooting Forum and GOSA, which were our creations, had no financial support whatsoever. We had no members. So we had no way of transporting ourselves to Cape Town, paying for accommodation, etc., and food and stuff like that, which you have to do. So at the last minute, with barely a month to go, we created these T-shirts.
There was a couple of them. I still have one.
Yeah. But this one in particular. And our message to Parliament was: this is my soccer ball. The pistol is my soccer ball. Because the National Firearms Summit, as everyone knows, a company that was supposed to produce the Firearms Control Amendment Bill, and the Firearms Control Amendment Bill was known at that stage as Senzo Mayiwa's Law, after the national soccer captain who was murdered by persons unknown in his girlfriend's house a couple of months prior to that. So they were pushing through, and one of the leaders on the podium at the conference was SAFA, of course, because SAFA's got everything to do with firearms, as you all know. So they tried to use the popularity and the tragedy of Senzo Mayiwa's slaying to usher in this firearms summit, with the end result being, and here's Senzo Mayiwa's Law, which would have been crippling amendments to the Firearms Control Act. anyway, so we styled ourselves purely as sport shooting, and
it's grown
we
from
specifically focused on soccer because South African Football Association was part of the organising committee. They were on the podium. So I remember their representative, who there was Advocate Norman Arendse, who is I think was their vice president. And I remember walking up to the podium and presenting him with one of these T-shirts, these very T-shirts. This is my soccer ball. And that of course was a pivotal moment in our fight for gun owner rights. It made them the reasoned arguments which we presented in Parliament caused them to withdraw that bill, and we only saw it reappear last year, and in a much contorted fashion, which makes it actually easier to combat. So that was a pivotal moment for gun rights in South Africa. It was also what caused GOSA. We went away from that thing and we said, geez, we struggled, eh? We struggled to find cash. We didn't have cash. We struggled to find cash. We decided that at that specific stage that we needed to professionalize the fight. And in order to professionalize the fight, we needed to monetize it, because professionals don't work for nothing. When you're reliant on people who are volunteers, they're great. They've got passion, etc., etc. But their attention is subject to their availability. So they'll help you with something and their heart's in it and they really want to make it happen. But if they have to choose between putting food on the table for their family and helping out, you know they must. I mean, everybody must do that. You must look after your family first. So they must put food on the table for their families. So you can't rely absolutely on volunteers, because something happened.
Yeah.
You know.
But we've had in GOSA Girls on Fire and in
Yes.
we have a wonderful lot of volunteers.
We've got a special bunch of people.
And they basically give up many days and hours of work that they can't.
But without the professional backbone that GOSA provides, the professional structure that GOSA provides, you can't have the phones being answered after 1 or 2 rings every single day of the week. You can't have the legal representation.
Taking calls at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Taking calls at 2 o'clock in the bloody morning. You can't have the firearm festivals which we produce. That's beyond the scope of a volunteer organization, far beyond the scope of it. Yeah. So we need, you have to have that professionalism. You have to pay and you have to pay those people a competitive wage. So there are people out there that say, well, GOSA is just a money machine and we're always asking for money. Yeah, and that leads us into the next points which we're going to talk about, the 2 court cases we've had this week.
And the question was, is the judiciary captured? Yeah, that was.
Are they taking instructions from the state to go easy on the state?
It is being. Sorry, guys, the ear has just disappeared.
Oh, he's just eaten the ear off his piglet.
The feet.
That's terrible. Oh, okay. A foot. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Piggy is going to be.
Once he dismembers his soft toys, they go away from him.
There we go. Done.
He has a whole collection of soft toys with bits missing. Okay, so let's get on to the meat of this thing. So we had 2 court cases this week. In the first case, we were looking for a declarator from the South Gauteng High Court about Section 21 permits. Section 21 permits are part of the Act. They're intended for situations where people can't go through the process for a full license, either for urgency or because they, for example, aren't South African citizens or permanent residents. But they're working, so they live in South Africa, they're waiting for their permanent residence, but they're targets, or they have been threatened, or they have been attacked already, and they need a firearm for self-defense. Or they're hunters that have come into the country, and they need to be able to bring they're coming in here, they're working in here for a couple of years as a hunting guide. They need to have their firearms, whatever the circumstance. That's what a Section 21 permit, a temporary permit, is designed for. Now these are supposed to be issued at station level, not at provincial level, not at CFR level, at station level. They're a temporary permit. They don't require competency certificates. because obviously as a non-South African citizen, you can't get a competency certificate to start with. So they're designed as a stopgap. They're designed as an emergency measure. They're designed as a temporary solution to a problem. SAPS has for years been trying to avoid issuing Section 21 permits.
Well, they issued them too much, if I can remember right.
Yeah, there was a case of a certain CFR head, a certain brigadier who was implicated in issuing a whole bunch of
I could specifically remember that.
citizens of a certain persuasion with Section
Again,
21 permits for money. Anyway, so there were scandals, yes, but there always are going to be. Whenever you put too much power in the hands of public servants, somebody's going to try and make money out of it. It's just the way of the world. Our public servants who have got probably, I don't know, I don't want to besmirch public servants.
We just talk about Norwood Police Station.
Oh,
Let's not even talk about that.
So all of the top structure, as we told the people weeks ago, I had a confirmatory call from one of the senior journalists just a couple of days ago, and he said to me, Paul, you were dead right. They took out the station, or the station commander was resigned ahead of being fired and arrested, the head of visible policing and the head of detectives. They took out the whole senior structure of the Hawkstead. Took out the whole senior structure of the station. They were all complicit in it. They've been charged with racketeering, which is very interesting.
Very.
That's not just dereliction of duty or oops, he made a mistake, let's slap him over the wrist. That's racketeering. People go to jail for racketeering. People like Shabir Sheikh. Wait, no.
He's not in jail.
Okay, so anyway, so that brings us to our court cases. So the first case for the court case with the Section 21s, we came up against a junior acting judge who was, believe this or not, before she was appointed to the bench, and we now have evidence of the NEC, the ANC NEC committee, the transcript of the meeting where they actually put up candidates and they made the decision about which candidates would be appointed to the bench. That's
captured.
That's captured. That's already captured. Yeah. So we know this has happened. This is a fact. It's not speculation. It's an actual fact. So this young lady was a junior attorney prior to being elevated to acting judgeship. And she made some horrendous statements in court, and she's been charged for them. She challenged documents that were produced and not challenged by the state. She challenged the documents and said to our attorney, "No, how do I know you haven't just falsified these?" And our attorney said, "My lady, I'm an officer of the court. I could never do that. I would be imprisoned if I did that." And she said, "Yes, well, I don't trust you." So she dismissed him very arrogantly, without cause. So that's a huge problem. It's a huge problem we sit with in South Africa. So when we ask, is the judiciary captured? Well, let the facts speak for themselves. The second case, of course, was the next day, also in the South Gauteng High Court.
It was
Yesterday. This time with a very senior judge with lots of experience, mostly in the commercial arena, the second case was asking some substantive relief from the courts.
About the licenses.
That was to define what a license is, to give a declaratory order on competencies, that competencies must be considered within 90 or 120 working days, but they can't go on for 200 days. No. They can't go on for 300 or 400 days, as we have examples of. So the judge.
You were white in the face.
I was absolutely livid, and it's improper for me to suggest that the judge
what happened
was just having a really bad hair day, but she was having a really bad hair day. You know, we even wondered if she was on crack at the time.
No, you can't say that.
I know I can't say that, and I'm not suggesting that, but that was a speculation. It was so horrendous. She came out with a suggestion that we were asking about competencies and stuff like that, and all of the competency legislation is encapsulated in the regulations, the police regulations to the Firearms Control Act of 2004. There have been no updates to the legislation that the case was about. There have been updates. The police updated their understanding of competency, or the expiry of competency, that it lasts for as long as the licenses which are granted under that competency, not for 5 years as they'd originally supposed. They've come up last year. They came out in June last year with increases to the prices for the application for competency. You know, it went up from, what was it, 70 Rand an application, or to 90 Rand or whatever it was an application. Okay, that's fine. But that doesn't affect the competency. It doesn't affect the matters that were before the court. It doesn't affect anything at all. It's a complete smokescreen.
So what did she say?
She said to our instructing attorney, Mr. Marks, she said to him, but this doesn't take account of the regulations which changed after 2011. And you know they must take account of this. And this also relies on a temporary court order which wasn't a temporary court order, which stated in the South African Intrusion Detection Society, one of Martin Hood's cases, where it stated that competencies must be fully considered within 90 working days, which the police have now morphed into 120 working days, but nonetheless, there's a period. And now they're taking as long as they bloody like.
Okay, let's get back.
To drag you all back to it. So she said to him, but Mr. Marks, you haven't taken account of the changes to the regulations. And he said to her,
what changes?
My ladyship, what changes? She said, well, you should know about them. I know about them. And he said, your ladyship, there haven't been any changes to the regulations. The regulations governing what we're asking, what's before the court today, are the same regulations that they were in 2004. Oh, well, I have no way of knowing that. You haven't led any evidence to that fact. It's common cause. I mean, it's not. She said to him, I'm telling you that the regulations have changed. And he said to her, I'm sorry, my lady, but they haven't changed. And he said, well, I'm not going to take your word for it. So I'm standing your case down. He said, well, your ladyship, can you stand it down until the close of business today, and I'll then bring you the regulations, all of the regulations, and you can see for yourself. So no, I don't have time for that. It's just stood down. You have to re-enroll the case. So is the judiciary captured, or are they just blithering idiots? It's one of the two. You don't get, this is not accidental. Two cases on consecutive days in the same division of the High Court, two separate clients, and both of them are booted on to call them specious grounds would be lending the causes for booting them too much credibility. The judicial officers can't be this stupid. They can't be. They can't be. These are senior, the second case was a senior advocate. She'd practiced at the bar, I think, for something like 17 years, for God's sakes.
Did she just not prepare for the case, or is there something behind it?
It seems to me, I don't believe in coincidences. I just don't. I mean, you know, once is happenstance, twice is enemy action.
So what do you think, okay, so what is the way forward? How's GOSA dealing with that?
Let's talk about specifically the second one, which is of more importance to all of our members. So what we're doing, we've already done. We've got, I think, in our database on the people that we're actually dealing with at the moment, more than 300 that are well in excess of 120 days that we've been trying to chase on. These people would all be going on the coattails of this decision. And we've had a whole bunch of other people that have come in on it now as well. So she said, we've got to show her that the situation today is the same as the situation was before in 2004. So we have to do that. We have to show to her what is common cause, what SAPS has admitted to in Parliament. We have to prove this to this juror who seems intent on protecting the state. I'm sorry if this offends her. Your ladyship, your decision offended us. It goes beyond bad judicial judgment. It goes beyond, the judiciary is under attack. Lindiwe Sisulu attacked the judiciary. Oh, clutch my pearls, it's so horrible. When the judiciary makes themselves liable to attack by making horrendous decisions such as this, scandalous decisions such as this, they lay themselves open to attack. They mustn't expect members of the public to step up to protect them if the judiciary is plainly not following the rules. If there's no justice, there's no justice system. Anyway, so that's unfortunately where we're in today. I think we're going flat out to get this back in court as soon as possible. We've already enrolled it for a date. We're waiting on the new date for this. We'll go in there, all guns blazing, and yeah, it's just horrendous. It's 2 cases, 2 consecutive days, different judges, same division of the court, and 2 horrendous home team decisions, protecting the state from the citizens. It's terrible. It's scandalous.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
Anything else from that side?
That's about it, guys. Guys, we fight for you.
Not always easy, and every time it gets delayed, it's more costs.
It's more costs. It's so we still have all of our court costs. Yeah. We have our court costs from this week. Those don't go away suddenly because the judge decides to have a bad hair day. The costs for us are still the same. We have to re-enroll the case and run up more costs with no end in sight, with no positive benefit coming from that. Yeah. It's scandalous.
I'm actually just going to end off with telling Rainer, if he's watching, that it's not raining yet.
It's about to start raining, Rainer, but it's not raining yet.
That's the builder that didn't come today because it's supposedly to rain. It's going to rain today. But you can hear the chainsaws at the neighbours.
And the thunder.
And the thunder.
So perhaps it's a good time to sign off, guys.
So we're going to just sign off with the 2 videos from last week. We're still waiting. We're still waiting for, we're still asking for auditions for the Scrappy song and also for the Fighting Spirit Award. So we're just going to end up with those 2 videos. Have a fantastic weekend. Hopefully next week is better for the gun rights.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.
Scrappy the Land Rover has lots of friends. Come play with us, the fun never ends. We're gun buddies, we learn gun safety. It's fun and easy, just like 1, 2, 3. If you see a gun, you shouldn't be afraid. You're a gun buddy and you'll be okay. So gun buddies, what does Scrappy say? Stop, don't touch, call a parent, walk away. Someone has a gun they keep in their room. Don't touch it or it will go boom. Scrappy knows what's best, so listen girls and boys. Guns are not bad, but guns are not toys. If you see a gun, you shouldn't be afraid. You're a gun buddy and you'll be okay. So gun buddies, what does Scrappy say? Stop, don't touch, call a parent, walk away. A friend invites you to come and play.
We are now taking nominations for our third
No, that's not okay. Scrappy knows what's best, so
We are now taking nominations for our 3rd annual GOSA Girls on Fire Fighting Spirit Award, to be awarded at our Top Shot Gala event on the 2nd of April 2022. The Fighting Spirit Award was implemented to recognize those otherwise ordinary women who step up to the plate when life throws them a curveball. We celebrate their triumph over adversity to set an example for other women of what can be done. We hope that their action will be a shining example to other women out there that need courage. Please send your nominations to ant@gosa.co.za.
I am your sister in arms. Support GOSA Girls on Fire.